Thanks for joining us here on News Channel 25 WVTT. I'm Alexa Olson. This is Twin Tiers Evening News. Jeff Angelonis not with us tonight. The big story here on Twin Tiers Evening News. A massive winter storm targeting the East Coast today. It's the same one that hammered the Midwest, and some places near Washington, D.C. could get up to a foot of snow. Federal offices are closed along with schools, and people are warned to stay off the roads. Joe Johns has our story.
It's already breaking records, and it's not over yet. The massive, deadly storm started its march in the upper plains. Parts of North Dakota had over a foot of snow. Ditto in Minnesota, where wrecks littered the highways. When traffic did move, it moved slowly. Then on to Wisconsin and more treacherous roads. A semi fell into the Red Cedar River, killing the driver and closing part of the interstate for hours. In Chicago, the afternoon commute was an icy, snowy mess.
It doesn't make for good driving, but at the same time, you know what? It's beautiful out, the snow, the quiet.
The 10 inches of snow at O'Hare Airport set a record for most snowfall on that date. More than 1,000 flights in and out of Chicago were canceled. Overnight, the snow started piling up in Indiana.
It was scary. It just felt like I was on ice, and it was just really slippery.
And Ohio. But amid the misery, there is a bright side.
They're pretty sweet.
It's just like being on a mattress or a cloud.
Now that big monstrous cloud is bearing down on Virginia, has Washington in its sights, and it's still far from being over.
If you have to get on the road, use extreme caution, drive slower than you normally would.
Joe John, CNN, Winchester, Virginia.
A new poll is showing overwhelming support when it comes to background checks for gun buyers. The poll was put out by a group called the Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and results of the poll say 94% of the people who live in New York's 23rd congressional district support background checks. 2/3 of those polled say they favor stronger gun violence prevention laws to keep guns out of the wrong hands. A quarter were opposed to the law, and 43% of those polled say they own a firearm. Smith & Wesson, a gun manufacturing company, reports earnings more than tripled in its most recent quarter. The nation's second biggest publicly traded gun company also raised its outlook for gun sales this year. Those results followed a similarly strong quarterly report from gun maker Strum Ruger last week. The gun industry has seen a spike in demand from consumers who fear new regulations could limit their ability to buy certain firearms. It's a trend that began with President Obama's re-election. He's made gun control a top priority for his second term. It accelerated in the months since the Sandy Hook elementary mass shooting. Smith & Wesson CEO says the gun industry is, quote, part of an important national discussion about how to cope with violence in our communities. The future of the tunnel under East State Street by Bradner Stadium is still uncertain. During last night's Common Council meeting, Director Tom Windus says the $345,000 in the proposed 2013 budget will only cover one of two projects for the Bradner Stadium. But Windus says the city can potentially keep the tunnel open and repair the portion of State Street running over it for the same price. But a recent inspection shows that the tunnel is in better condition than they initially thought, so the funds allocated would be enough to make the necessary repairs. Officials aren't yet sure what they'll determine of their plan of action. The council also agreed to vote on a newly negotiated contract with the police union. Fire Chief Bell brought in Robert Jordan to answer some of the council's questions.
I invited Chuck Jordan here. He does the ambulance rates and everything. He recommends the rates he's in for settlement, and he can answer any questions you have on how the cause and effect of doing this increase on it. So
basically, these rates will only affect your other 35% of your pay mix. So basically, we're looking at approximately about $65,000. We can look for an increased revenue throughout the course of the year, based on the 35% pay mix that's left over.
Okay. And for most of that pay mix, just off the top of your head, any idea how much we're not insured?
A very small percentage. The poor typically are taken care of by Medicaid. I would say it's probably less than 1%. And for those that do not have insurance, we have a charity care program that we use that person, that patient can qualify for, and therefore we have their families written off if they qualify.
Well, if you were out and about in Olean today, you might have noticed this train hanging out on the tracks near the William O. Smith Recreation Center. It turns out the train had broken down at that site. Crew members were trying to fix it. The train was not obstructing any major roadways, and it was fixed and on its way late this afternoon. In honor of National Literacy Month, the Olean Rotary Club has been handing out books to area high schools. WVTT's Valerie Tysander was at Portville Elementary this morning as the Rotary Club donated the last of its books.
March is National Literacy Month. So for the fourth year in a row, the Olean Rotary Club is distributing books to third graders in area schools.
We're here today, members of the Olean Rotary Club, and we're here to distribute dictionaries.
An act the Rotary Club treasures because not only is it rewarding, but there's a personal connection.
My sons were in third grade here. Some of their teachers were sitting right there.
400 third graders are now the proud owners of their very own student dictionary, a Bible for English teachers everywhere.
When I was in the third grade, which was about 10 years ago,
70 third graders at Portville Elementary received the last of the dictionaries today. As the Rotary Club passed them out, the students eagerly began flipping through them, letting their hands taste the pages. But the fun didn't stop there.
What does that mean? Let's look it up.
The Rotary Club showed the third graders how to use the dictionary.
that's how a dictionary helps us.
And all the hidden treasures, like definitions, where the longest word in the dictionary is located, and, of course, the sign language section.
Sometimes people use sign language. You know what sign language is?
Yeah. In Portville, Valerie Tysander, WVTT News.
For more on her story, you can visit us on the web at WVTTnews.com. We have some breaking news coming out of the Cattaraugus County Legislature meeting. We have a reporter there covering the meeting right now. Now, Cat County Public Works has decided to sell a road to Portville for around $250,000. It's in good shape, and in a couple of years it could actually gain profits for the county. Now, this is called a road exchange. They were looking to sell another road. That would have cost them about $1 million, so this road is looking like it is going to be the best bet for them. We'll have the latest on the Cattaraugus County Legislature meeting later on tonight on our website. Also, breaking news coming out of Erie County earlier today. According to Erie County Sheriff's Office, they've arrested a man they say allegedly murdered a 3-year-old boy. According to police, the boy is the son of the alleged suspect's live-in girlfriend. The incident happened on the Seneca Nation of Indians Reservation, and the incident happened late Monday night or early Tuesday morning. A Jamestown man is behind bars tonight after he was sentenced for breaking into multiple churches in New York's Southern Tier. 47-year-old John Bish was convicted of breaking into the Greek Orthodox Church and Bethel Lutheran Church, both in Jamestown, and also admitted to breaking into the Center Road Baptist Church in West Seneca and the Cazenovia Baptist Church in Buffalo. Bish was sentenced yesterday to an intermediate term of 2 to 4 years in state prison for 2 counts of third-degree burglary. He has yet to be sentenced for those burglaries in Erie County. Today, U.S. Senator Charles Schumer announced that he is recommending Elizabeth Wolfred to President Obama to serve as judge in the Western District Federal Court. Ms. Wolfred is a history-making pick, as she would have become the first woman to serve as a federal judge in New York's Western District. Governor Andrew Cuomo today announced $12.2 million that will help 209 farms in 27 different counties to protect New York's lakes, streams, and rivers from potential agricultural runoff. Now, this assistance is awarded through the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets and funded through the Environmental Protection Fund. Governor Cuomo says that this program is supporting farms across the state, but putting in place practices that will protect water quality in their areas. He added that this will not only help improve the environment, but will also help stimulate economic activity. The Allegheny County Soil and Water Conservation District will be receiving nearly $192,000 from this $12.2 million grant. U.S. Representatives Glenn Thompson and Kurt Schroeder today announced a Forest Projects Fairness Act of 2013. The legislation opens new market opportunities for American forestry and allows forest products to qualify for the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Bio-Based Markets program. More news coming up next.